Hey guys, Russ here with bishopswest.com, continuing my series about stuff that I like about Bitwig Studio. So today, just to jump right into it, I wanted to talk a little bit about audio editing and how you go about doing that in Bitwig Studio. Like a lot of other DAWs, I know it's pretty easy. It's just knowing the shortcuts, knowing kind of how things work and getting your head around that first. Once you do understand all that, like I said, it's pretty straightforward. So to get started, I just loaded in a couple things. I've got this stack bass 2 on the polysynth, and I brought in this loop. It's just a drum loop. This is what it sounds like. Okay. So let's start by playing with that. What we can do first of all is, for example, if there's part of it that you like and part of it that you just want to shorten, you can just drag, and I want to show you kind of how the cursor looks, kind of like a upside down L up in the top right corner. You can drag that and then it'll only play as much as you want. So if I only want one bar, right, and that's it. The thing is, all that audio beyond that I kind of shortened and doesn't show anymore, that still exists. It's still there. It's just hidden and muted, basically. So if I want it back again, I can just drag it out like that. Okay. Same thing over here. You can just drag it like that. Okay. Now, if I want to split it, say, maybe I've got a longer section, I can just put the cursor right there, click and press Control E, and see how it's got the cutoff corner there. It's split it into 2 tracks. And now I can drag that around and maybe say take this one, Control, drag over, and so I've got that first measure with the last measure way over here. So I've got that first measure 3 times and then finish up with the last measure. So I'm going to get rid of those. Undo, 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 Control Z. Command Z, I guess, on the Mac. I've never used a Mac. I don't know. So now I've got these 2 separate. What if I want them to be consolidated and back into one clip? Well, that's easy too. I just Control click, or start over. Click on one and then Control click on the other one. And then I just press Control J on my keyboard. Okay, there's long ways to do this where you can right click, split, but you see the keyboard shortcut right there. It's so much faster. But if you like the mouse, I guess you can do that. And then, so let's do that. And then same thing, once you've got them both selected, right click and consolidate, Control J. Okay, now, as you can see, I actually have 4 bars of bass music, 2 bars of the drums, so I want to duplicate that over here. So that's really easy. I just click on this one and then press Control D for duplicate, and it moves it over there. Same thing, if I wanted to, I could just select both of them and Control J and now make it into a 4-bar loop, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to leave it as is. Then one more thing, going back a step, I wanted to show you too, if you have maybe a middle section that you like or don't like, whatever the case may be, you can actually select a region like this, and then same thing, press Control E, and it splits at the beginning and the end of that selection. Okay, something handy. I'm sure it can be useful. It has been for me at least. Now, moving on a little bit, I wanted to show you something cool about Bitwig Studio. I'm not sure every other DAW can do this. Probably some can. If you want this to actually end up being audio instead of MIDI, you can do a couple things. Number one, if you want to keep the MIDI, then you just right click and say bounce. And it'll ask you some options. If you've got volume automation, that kind of thing, you might want to use post fader. In this case, I don't have anything. I'll just use pre fader. And everything else I just keep the same, and then click OK. And you can see now it renders out an audio loop for me on a new track. Okay. Same thing though, if I just want to replace the MIDI, I'm done editing, I want to basically freeze it and move on, I can right click and just say bounce in place, or if you want, Control B. Okay, so I've got that. I think for the sake of this video, just to keep things short, I'm not going to play with that too much, but let's play with my drum loop here. So once I've got a drum loop, or any loop really, maybe I want to do something with those hits. So, sorry, you know what? I haven't even let you listen to the bass loop yet. It's nothing special, but why not? So there you go. That's what the bass loop sounds like. All I wanted to show you was how to bounce it to audio. Why bounce it to audio? Well, number one, if you want to save CPU on a slow running computer, or if I've heard a lot of people talk about it's easy to get stuck in sound design mode and spend hours on it when really you should be moving on to finishing the song. So this is a way to say, you know what, I've done enough, I'm not going to mess with it anymore, and kind of draw a line in the sand for yourself. Say, now it's audio, I'm not going to go with the sound design thing anymore. Although, as you'll see, editing audio, that's another way that you can kind of design sounds a little bit. So that's one reason to do that. Why would you want to... In a previous video, I talked about adding another audio track and saying, make my input this stacked bass 2. Okay, why would I do that? Well, if on my synth here, before I bounce it to audio, if on my synth I've got certain parameters that I'm adjusting in real time and recording those in real time, that's something that's kind of fun to play with. And again, you know, if you don't print that, maybe you'll lose that. So it's more convenient in the long run to print that to audio. I call it print it to audio. Record that to audio, so that later on you've got all this stuff that you're playing around with, and you can go back and take snippets of it. You know, Fact TV does videos on beat the clock or against the clock, and some of them talk about doing that, about, you know, just taking little snippets here and there of stuff that they've played with. So just something to think about. Okay, so Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Now I've got my MIDI back, but let's play with this drum loop. So in order to see, well, over here, first of all, you can see kind of the basic stuff. If you get to a point and you're playing around and say, maybe this point, you want to have, well, let's do it here. Right about here, you want to mute it. You can do Control E, make that its own separate thing, and then mute it, and then you got it dropping out. For a drop, or whatever you want to do there. It's also got different modes, like I said, the mute, stretch, we'll talk about that a little bit maybe. The gain is a big one. You can +6, -6, -1, +1 to adjust the gain a little bit if it's too quiet or too loud. And also this is where you would adjust the pan, and you can even adjust the pitch. +12 semitones, -12 semitones. But let's talk a little bit about, if I take this audio, a good example is a drum loop that you find someplace, and maybe you want to play around with that, adjust things, switch it up a little bit. One way to do that is if you right click, you can go slice to drum machine, and it'll ask you some of these things. Same thing, for the sake of this video, I'm just going to leave it. One thing to change though might be, right now it's set to slice at eighth notes, so every eighth note it's just going to create another slice. You can see down here it's going to create 16 slices. What you might want to do is change it to onset, and what that does is it looks for the transients and it splits the clip at those transients. So I'm going to do that. Limit number, and it says it's going to create 15 slices. Okay, fine, let's try. Click OK. And now you can see down here I've got my drum machine. Just for fun, let's play this and see what it does. Okay, but I was focused up here, but if you look down here, all of a sudden right? And so, oh, there's your clap, there's your kick, and you can, of course, rename each of these. Just whichever one you want, click on that, and then Control R, and then you can call it kick or whatever you want to do. Okay, and so that way, now you can take all these MIDI notes and start rearranging them, get different patterns, different rhythms, whatever you want to do with that. Along the same lines, whoops, haha, that was fun. So, this is what happens when you try to use the demo version on live video. Yay. I'm not going to send a report. Just when I was having fun too. Let's see, I want to go in here. And I had some cool ones, but let's see if I can find. Yeah, pickles, I can't. Oh, in the loops. That. Sorry, guys. That's what I get for using the demo version. Let's see, what's this? Oops. Okay, good enough. We'll use that for right now. Okay, so anyways, it's all the same in version 2.4. This is my real version, 2.3.5. So to keep going a little bit, you can drag this down if you want to see a little bit more of the track. But if you kind of want to edit it, you can go over here and click on the note editor panel. And lo and behold, there it is. Another way to do that, easier, is just double click on there, on the bar up here. Okay, so now you can see it down here. Oh, before I go on, I showed you the slice to the drum machine. You can do the same thing, but slice to multisample. Okay, you've got all your basic. Again, I'm going to change that to onset, looking for the transients. If you don't know what I mean by transient, down here it's just every time when a new beat hits, it's looking for those. Okay, so here you can see it's done the same thing. If you look in your devices, there's your sampler, and it's set up as a multi-sampler in here. So, solo. And you can see it going out to scale there. Okay, just something to be aware of. It's fun to play around with certain samples. Rearranging things, making it interesting, vocal samples especially. Okay, so anyways, back to this. Now down here you can see this clip. I think the best way I saw this explained is that this is a container for the actual audio event. Let's get it down a little bit just so you can see there's the end. So what you can do is, this is the container, and then if you click there, now you're actually playing with the audio event itself. Okay, and you can see the difference because if you click here or up here, look up here, you've got clip up in your menu bar. Okay, oh, I want that. By the way, if you want to see some of these buttons, all you have to do is click the pin button and it keeps it up there every time you select the clip. Okay, deselect, that goes away. But when it's relevant, click on that. There it is again. Okay. So anyways, that's a clip. And then down here where you click on this, it shows, oh, well now it's actually playing with the event. Okay. So what I'm going to do to start with is, there's a couple ways to do it. You can select a region and then just like before, Control E, and that splits it right there. Control Z to undo. But the other thing that you can do is right click there and say, split at onsets, and then it does the whole thing for you. Okay, maybe you didn't like this particular onset, but you can move it around you know. I think if you click that, there you go, and just press press delete, and you can get rid of it like that. Okay, but going back, audio events, right click, split it onsets, and now you've got it pretty much all the way across at each major onset there. Okay, once you have that, then you can start to play around a little bit. So one thing that's kind of fun is if you take this, just select one of the splits that you've done, and up here, remember I told you I was going to play around with this a little bit, press reverse, and it just reverses that. So just to listen real fast. What's going on? There we go. Okay. As opposed to what it was before. Right? So let's do that there, and maybe at there. And of course you can also do the same thing where you just right click and choose, not in this case, sorry. Still has to be in the menu up here. But I'm going to actually change it a little bit, do it there and there. Let's see what that sounds like. Yeah, I kind of like that. That's interesting. So once you've done all that, now maybe you're done playing with that. What you can do is take all of these and then right click, I think, maybe not, maybe right here. No, I'm wrong. I thought you could consolidate. What you can do though is just, again, Control B. Let's try here. No. Last chance, Control B. There we go, bounce in place. And now it's back to all consolidated into, interesting, into one file, or sorry, into one audio event. Okay. Now, I've showed you how to split things. I've showed you how to do a reverse, which is kind of fun. The only other thing I wanted to show you real fast was talking about stretching. If you want to kind of change the timing a little bit, especially for example vocals, this is where you do it. You can see down here, it's got this little triangle. That's a marker that they use for stretching. So there's different algorithms over here. I'm going to choose this elastique. I found this to be pretty good for smooth stretching. Doesn't introduce too many artifacts. What you can do is, it kind of helps you look for the transients there. Everywhere it finds a transit, you can click and it adds a marker for you. And so then what you can do is drag that, and you can see it kind of stretches the whole thing. Now if you look down here at the very bottom, you can see it's kind of blue where it's being compressed and red where it's being expanded. Okay, so it's just another visual cue to help you out there. So now if we listen to that, well, I don't know if you can hear that. I certainly cannot. So let's assume that it's beautiful. I'm not sure what's going on. I think my demo version of Bitwig kind of broke the audio a little bit. And we saw up there that it was missing that file. So that's what I get for trying to be fancy. Yeah, I'm not going to go into trying to figure out everything. What I'll end up doing probably is just restarting my computer. But looking at my notes, that's everything I had to show you anyways. Obviously this didn't work out, but take some time, take a chance on me. Take some time to play around with that and, experiment, see what results you can get with your own stuff. What I was going to say is that for vocal samples where you're trying to get things lined up and more in time, especially for any live playing, this is really handy, and I've been making a fair amount of use of it to get all of the timing lined up really well. So that's all I had for today. Again, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. If you like this, please click like down at the bottom. Also, please click subscribe. It's a big deal to me. And then, if you have any questions, any comments, I'd love to know how you are using the different audio editing facilities, I guess, in Bitwig Studio. What's your favorite thing to do? Do you like stretching? Have you really done anything with the clips like this? Is there anything else that I didn't show that has been really fun for you to use? So again, just let me know down in the comments, or if you have any questions about things that you'd like to see me cover in a future video, that would be great too. One last thing, like I've said before, I've got a free gift for you. It's called Accelerate Your Music Making in Bitwig Studio, and it's just a few steps that you can use to kind of get going quickly in Bitwig Studio, so that you don't have to waste as much time every time you start up the program. All you have to do is go to www.bishopswest.com/Bitwig Setup. I almost forgot. bishopswest.com/Bitwig Setup, and put in your email address, and I'll send you an email with a link. It's pretty straightforward. I won't sell your email to anybody else, nothing like that. No ulterior motives there. Just wanted to let you guys have a chance to download this. So, thanks again for watching. Let me see real fast. Just want to check that there's nobody asking questions in the chat room. No. Okay. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and I will see you next time.